Hi guys, so this video is on the 5 themes of geography. It's the second lecture of this semester. If you need to pause the video to review some of these definitions, there's going to be a lot of information and some definitions that you need to know, and I'll point them out. So let me know if you have any questions. First of all, during this lecture, we reviewed what the 7 continents were. So you should know that the 7 continents are Asia, Europe, Africa, Australia, Antarctica, North America, and South America. And also know the 4 oceans. So there's the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Arctic Ocean, and the Indian Ocean. And we also discussed why we study geography. Remember that geography affects where people live, it affects how people live, and it also affects the outcome of major events. So those are the reasons why we study geography, so that we can understand why people make the decisions they make and what has brought them to the point that they are today. Now we're going to discuss the 5 themes of geography. When we study geography, we're looking at 5 particular elements every time that we study an area. First is location, second is movement, region, place, human-environment interaction, and now let's talk about location. The location answers the question, where is it? There's 2 types of location, and you do need to know these definitions: absolute location and relative location. Absolute location is found by using 2 specific types of lines. You're looking at latitude and longitude. So absolute location talks about latitude lines. Latitude lines are also known as parallels, and they are drawn from east to west, but they are measured from north to south. Right? Again, they're drawn from east to west, but they're measured from north to south. The major line of latitude is called the equator, and it splits the Earth into 2 parts, the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Hemisphere is half of a globe, in our case, the Earth. Longitude lines are also known as meridians. They are drawn from north to south, but they are measured from east to west. So again, drawn from north to south, but they are measured from east to west. The major line of longitude is called the prime meridian, and it splits the Earth into the eastern and western hemispheres. Relative location is where an area is depending on where another area is. So if you were in my classroom and you wanted to describe where the desk is, you'd give me the relative location by telling me what it's close to. So you could say it's next to the front door, or it's across from the computers. That is relative location. Theme 2 talks about movement. How are people linked together? Movement describes how people in one area contact people in other areas. Not just people can move around. Of course, we move goods, we move people and their personal stuff, we move money, we also move ideas. And how do things move? So people might share their ideas through word of mouth. They might use forms of transportation to get from one place to another. There are satellites that share information all over the world. There's computers, and of course, telephones. Through movement, we connect the entire world together. This is called globalization. When we are interdependent, that means that we rely on other countries for our economic, culture, politics, socialization, and technology. We are a globalized society. Here are some examples of American industries or American companies that have made a name for themselves in other countries. So you can tell that this is a McDonald's and they're in different parts of the world. This is Arabic, so this is somewhere in the Middle East. This is in China, right? And here are some other examples of McDonald's in other countries. A lot of our products are made in China. Nike has factories there. Coca-Cola also is very popular in other countries. And we have a picture here where you can see that KFC and Pizza Hut are in this European country. Now let's talk about region. That answers the question, what does it have in common? A region describes areas that have something in common. Regions can be big or they can be small. There are two types of regions, formal and functional. A formal region is an area in which certain characteristics is found throughout the area. Good examples of formal regions are cities, states, countries, and continents, since they all have boundaries, and everything that falls within those boundaries is part of that region. Functional regions have one central place and is surrounded by the areas that it affects. For example, Hershey, Pennsylvania. So here's a city in Pennsylvania that distributes its products to many places throughout the United States. So this is a functional region. The next theme we need to talk about is place. What is it like? So if you look at this picture and ask yourself, what is it like? Then what words would you use to describe it? You could say that it is forestry, that it has water, it looks like it's not very hot, it's mountainous. These are all words describing place. Here's another example. So here you would say that it's hot, sandy, there's canyons, it's also doesn't have a lot of greenery growing, all right? So these are again words that are describing this particular place. Here's another. Here you might say that it is humid, that there are maybe it's near an ocean. Okay, so these are again words describing place. Each place on Earth has its own distinct characteristics. There's two types of characteristics that we look at when we talk about place. There are human characteristics and there are, of course, physical characteristics. Human characteristics are things that humans put there, so like buildings or bridges or landmarks. And the physical characteristics are things that were created by nature. Something that makes it different from any other place in the world. Physical features include the landforms and the bodies of water that are found on Earth. So here you see glaciers, you see trees, you see meadows. Those are all physical characteristics. So what is the difference between location and place? Location gives you exact coordinates, and place gives you a visual description of what that place looks like. Human-environment interaction looks at how people interact with their environment. Human-environment interaction explains how people use and change their environment. Does the environment affect where we do these activities? Where do you do things like surfing? Where do you snowboard? You interact with your environment differently depending on where you are. Changes to the environment can be sometimes good, or sometimes they're very bad, or sometimes it's both. So that brings us to the end of this PowerPoint. To help you remember the 5 themes of geography, remember the acronym Mr. HELP. The M stands for movement, the R stands for region, HE stands for human-environment interaction, and L starts for location, P stands for place. If you missed the lecture, this is the assignment that you needed to do on the left-hand side of your notebook. You need to go ahead and make this web in your notebook, and then you need to categorize these examples into one of these 5 themes. Okay? If you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and have a good day. Thanks for watching.